Hello everyone, I'm Resha. In today's video, I'll be talking about the things I learned from being alone most of the time. By the end of this video, you'll for sure have the confidence to do things alone because you'll be surprised that there are a lot of learnings that you could discover along the way. Everyone, I'm just thrilled to keep sharing what I'm learning, so without further ado, let's keep moving. One of the major lessons I learned from being alone most of the time is this very controversial statement that we hear all the time. It's that being alone is different from being lonely. Let me first differentiate being alone and being lonely. According to Sarah Adler, being alone is actually just a state. It's the fact that you are not with other people. Being lonely, on the other hand, describes a feeling of sadness which is also associated with not having a connection with other people. So that just basically means that being alone is different from being lonely. You can be lonely but be surrounded by a lot of people, but you can be alone but feel very happy. And I guess now it's cleared, being alone is actually being on your own. But it gives you a sense of freedom, independence, and there's nothing more fulfilling than that. When I started doing simple things alone, even the simplest of things like doing the grocery alone, commuting alone, going to the beach alone, attending a seminar alone, or attending a conference alone, it has come to me that it doesn't trigger any sense of sadness because I realized that I really enjoyed my own company. But don't confuse it with the idea that I don't enjoy any possible company. I'm totally fine with both. It's just that sometimes a situation arises that I have to go alone and I have no choice but to be just by myself. That's just one crazy learning I learned from being alone most of the time, that it's different from being lonely. Actually, I know that before. I heard of that a lot of times before. I watched it from movies, from series.
So I now see that being alone doesn't mean I have to be lonely.
But now that I've actually experienced it, I just realized that it's true. You can be alone but feel very connected with the people around you. In my own experience, being alone means being able to radiate a positive attitude. It means finding joy by yourself. It's where your internal monologue is not interrupted by the thoughts and actions of others or of the people around you. That's quite deep, actually. One thing that really stuck out with me in my journey to being alone most of the time is that happiness can be found from within. I would always remind myself of this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson that says, "No one can bring you peace but yourself." And I'd also like to add one of my favorite video of Jay Shetty that I watched, I think, when I was in grade 10. This is where my interest in motivation really arises. Jay Shetty said that you don't give the key to your happiness on anything external because happiness is an inside job. World success is an inside job. Peace of mind is an inside job. Even love is an inside job. Every time I found myself alone, I would always replay that video of this girl who's about to go somewhere, but she realized that she has lost the key of his car. Her initial response would be, of course, going back inside her home and look for that key, look for that car key. And she would mess up until she realized that it's just inside her pocket. As much as we want to find that key of happiness from other people, it's not there, it's within us. If we forced looking for that key of happiness, we will end up messing everything. We will mess up situations. We will mess up our entire relationship with the people around us. So instead of looking for that key of happiness from other people, you have to find ways on how to look for that happiness within you. If you know this quote from Albus Dumbledore, this is from the Harry Potter series, and he says there that
happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, if one only remembers to turn on the light.
Even if you find yourself alone in the darkest of times, you have to remind yourself that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Isn't that a cliche? But it's worth repeating, right? When I was doing majority of the things alone, I realized how capable I am of making myself happy. Being alone made me realize that authentic happiness comes from within. It comes from making wise choices, and that includes choosing to be happy. There is likely not one person in this world that can make you happy every single day. There is probably not enough money available in this world that can make you happy or that can buy you happiness if you are not really happy within. You won't be able to consume enough drugs or alcohol just to make yourself happy. Sabi nga, all of this are just chip fillers for the real deal. For everyone's information, I am actually an irregular student, so I went in and out of the university alone. And I think it made me realize that learning how to be happy is within everyone's control. I can choose to be happy and I can choose to be sad because of my situation. And when you learn how to be happy, when you learn how to do this, you will have authentic happiness that is not dependent on any other situation. I would say that in this journey of being alone, it taught me a lot about independence and how necessary it is to trust myself. Oftentimes, we never really had the chance to get to know who we really are. Self-trust allowed me to consistently stay true to myself. And I think being alone gave me an opportunity to look after my own needs and, of course, my safety. I would suggest that if you're starting to build trust with yourself, you have to explore your values, your boundaries, the skills that will remind you of the things that are important to you. I couldn't agree more how trusting myself really enhanced my self-esteem and lead me to more positive experiences, relationships, and even opportunities. When I started doing things alone, I learned how to treat myself with deep love and compassion rather than always strive for perfection. One funny thing about being alone most of the time is that you learn how to be selfish. For instance, whenever I have to commute alone during rush and late hours, naguunahan talaga yung mga tao sa jeep. And since I had this time alone, I know for sure no one's gonna reserve me a seat. I gotta do it on my own. If I have to run fast or walk my way forward just so I could join the last trip when I need to, then I would. Selfishness can also help you tune into yourself. Tuning into yourself means that you are not just aware of your needs, you are also meeting them in a healthy way. You know, prioritizing yourself is also a good thing. We should learn how to try that often. Alone time is never selfish. Listen to that again. Alone time is never selfish. That alone time, it plays a key role in your mental health and it allows for personal exploration, it fosters creativity, and it boosts your social energy. I was an only child for 11 years, which proves that I've been alone for almost half of my life. And before, I haven't really thought about its impact on my overall well-being. But now that I grow older, I realized how alone I really am. This made me realize the fifth lesson that I learned from being alone most of the time, that I'm braver than I think. When I was in elementary, I don't make that much friends. I was a transfer when I was in grade 1. So my classmates during that time, they already know each other since I think they were classmates when they were kinder and prep. I'm not really the type of person who always initiates a conversation, and I know a lot of you guys could relate. I'm not the person who will walk down in front of you and talk to you about things and then we're friends. No, it's not my personality to initiate a conversation. I think if not for my cousin Nika, I don't think I would have made such circle when I was in elementary. But fast forward to high school, I think it's where I got a bit extrovert because I joined school organizations, I even joined speech contests, declamation pieces, and I think it really boosted my self-confidence. During those times, I realized how amazing it is to be surrounded by a lot of people, to just find yourself having fun with your friends and classmates when I was in high school. However, now that I'm a QNIF, I think I feel like I'm still an elementary student because I'm at that stage again, that transition from elementary to high school and now back at uni where I feel like I'm a lot more introvert right now is something that I wasn't prepared for. But I think that situation reminded me of how brave I really am. Whenever I feel lonely sometimes, because there really are days that you are not happy being alone, that you wish you have friends where you can talk about a lot of things. And whenever I am on that reality, I always remind myself this quote from Winnie the Pooh.
You're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think.
Oh, that's easy.
As much as I want to say that I really can't go through my day, that it's hard to go through my day, I just have no choice. And I think that made me even braver. You have to be braver than you want to be because the situation needs it, your future self needs it, and the person you're becoming needs it. I often see myself wrestling with self-doubt. I always worry that I lack what it takes to make the change I've always been wanting to put off. And In those times, I always want to encourage myself to cultivate courage in these fearful times. I was immune by the fact that adversity has a way of introducing us to a new dimension of our own humanity. It's time for us to develop and hone our talents that may otherwise become dormant because we are just afraid, notwithstanding the fact that we are braver than we think. I'm not alone because there are many people like me. If you're going to roam your eyes around, you'll be surprised that there's a lot of people out there who's also walking alone, who's also commuting alone, who's also eating out alone. One of the biggest misconceptions about this whole solitude thing is that because you're alone, you're different, you're out of place, you're an outcast. But the truth of the matter is there are many people like me. There are many people out there who are also struggling to be alone, who are also happy being alone, and who are also making their own way to enjoy things by themselves. The truth is the world isn't just about us. We should not be afraid to ask for help because people are kinder than you think. This is probably one of my biggest realization as well when I spent this time alone. When I attended a seminar, a training program in BGC, I was having a hard time opening my umbrella because it was raining that time. I approached 3 guards just for them to open up my umbrella, and luckily the 3rd guard was able to open it. However, when I have to ride in the jeepney, I have to close it and then I have to open it again because it was still pouring. And then I approached a stranger to please and kindly open it for me. And surprisingly, that stranger told me, he was smiling, and he's like, "Oh, wag mo nang sasarduhan yan ha para makarating ka sa bahay nyo nang naka-open yan at hindi ka maulanan." During that time, I realized that this time alone allowed me to see people in a whole new different level, in a whole new light. It helped me develop a renewed sense of gratitude for who these people are and for what they do. Of course, before, I do appreciate what guards do. I do appreciate what these strangers do. But now that I was able to receive help from strangers, I realized that they should be appreciated more. As simple as asking for a direction, as simple as asking where the comfort room is, as simple as asking what time is it, it's a way to conquer that fear of conversing with people. It's a skill that pays a lifetime. I fully understand that some people have trust issues. You might have one too, but it doesn't hurt to ask for help. There is no harm in asking, especially in times of need. Ever since high school, I really appreciate group activities. It's fun when you're not only doing the group activity or the project itself, but you're also enjoying everyone's company. But now that I spend my time alone recently, I realized that being alone, it allowed me to get more things done. There is this term in psychology that's called cognitive fixation. It is actually the tendency of people working in groups to get stuck with other people's ideas. It reduces the group's ability to come up with new ideas, and frankly, the bigger the group, the more fixated everyone becomes. It means that the bigger the group, the higher the chance that everyone gets stuck with everyone's ideas. Spending time alone not only eliminates distractions, you would agree with that, but it also helps and ensures that you get more done. This works for some, like me. I do understand that there are a lot of people out there who really performs well when they are in a group activity or when they are in a group study. You have to tell me in the comment section if you get more done when you're alone or when you are with a group of people. As I was searching, I stumbled upon this quote and this statement from Forbes, and this really hit the spot. It says there that, I'm gonna read you exactly what I read, okay? You have to get ready for this. You're not the center of the universe. In fact, no one really cares about you. It's harsh, but true. Of course, you have a family and a few good friends of yours who will take particular interest in various parts of your life, helping you when you need them. But they don't care about you nearly as much as you care about yourself. Ultimately, you're not top of mind to anyone but yourself. And when this is properly understood, this is really fulfilling and valuable. Whenever I'm eating alone, whenever I'm commuting alone, I feel like everyone is watching me. But the truth is, no, they don't. They also have their own personal problems that they have to deal with. Truthfully, being alone is one strict teacher. It will teach you how to maneuver your own lifeboat. And in this world, I think we have patronized social interaction so much that we rarely have time alone. I think we've had more than enough of social gatherings, of group activities, of seminars, of conferences, partnerings, and all of the things that we're pushed to do with other people. And all of this are still arguably beneficial for one's well-being. But don't you think we've had too much of a good thing? Don't you think it's time for us to do things alone? I've always been very vocal to people, especially online, about me spending time alone. That I look forward to it. Doing something just by myself is something that I feel very excited about, and that's quite interesting, right? After reflecting so many times, I think, and I'm confident to say, that I'm just alone, but I'm not lonely. This feeling of solitude is life-changing, and I encourage more people to do it and try. It has been such an amazing conversation with you guys. I challenge you to take that leap of faith to do things alone. Even the simplest of things, you would be surprised of how amazing you can be. And then after doing that, go back to this video and tell me your experience. Again, I'm Risha. I love talking about productivity, confidence, and growth. So if you're crazy about these topics, I would love it if you consider subscribing to my channel, as I will be uploading videos every week. Talk to you soon. Bye!